First, a little of context. I mean, we arrived to the government by 2022 after COVID, and by 2021, the fiscal deficit of the previous government, a right-wing one, was about 10 percentage point. So we had the challenge to, let's say, recover the macro situation, to improve the fiscal situation, but we are a progressive government, so the question was how to do this in a way that it was reasonable. So at that point, we said different things. First, we made an adjustment. Okay, it's true, but we designed an adjustment that it was not to reach let's say zero deficit in 1 year. Okay? It was a trajectory. Okay? And so it was possible to have this important macro adjustment, but by the end of 2022, there was a measure of poverty in Chile, and we reached the lowest level of poverty in our history. At the same time that we had this huge macro adjustment. Okay? Because at the same time that we had the adjustment, we increased the minimum wage. Actually, the minimum wage during our government is going to increase more than 20% in real terms. Now there is a lot of debate about the impact on unemployment, but at the same time that we did that, the employment, the job creation was good in our economy. We have now a problem because the unemployment is high, but the job creation was also high. So that was our starting point. At the same time, we have a very progressive agenda, but we didn't win the parliament. Right? We are in minority in both in the Senate and in the House. So the question was how to make progress in that context. And let me put this in a quantitative way. Our program said that we had to increase the size of the public sector in 5 percentage point of the GDP, and what we're going to get is 2%. So it's not what was our design. I mean, this is what happened when you're the government and you don't have the majority in the parliament. But still, these 2 percentage points, okay, are fiscal revenues that are really coming from wealthy people in general. I mean, one is coming. I mean, 0.5% is coming from a royalty to copper production. This is actually rising like 2 billions by now. So that was important, and something also relevant to emphasize is that that was a reform that was under discussion for about 8 years. So when we reached the agreement on this royalty, actually the investment in copper project increased because the uncertainty was reduced. So now they were able to calculate the return. So even though the return was lower than, let's say, than expected, still the return makes sense in order to make their investment. Okay? So we always emphasize this because people, when we were discussing this tax reform regarding the royalty, many people said that we were putting in risk the mining production of Chile, or the fact that we are the leader in copper production. And the second reform, and you were mentioning that, was about avoidance, reducing the avoidance. In Chile, tax avoidance is very high. Is mainly coming from wealthy people. Okay? And basically what we do is many small changes that we hope that when you put all together, we're going to have a huge impact that we estimate in about 1.5 percentage point. There are many things that were changing. Let me just give you one example. It used to be the case that when you have when you don't pay your taxes, okay, because you came up with a way to go, let's say, against the spirit of the law. Okay, the way that we used to proceed is that when that happened, the tax authority identified what was the loophole that you were using, okay, and then they closed that. Okay? But the tax authority was always behind the let's say the tax innovation. Okay. Now we have a general rule that says that the tax authority, they have the right to say you can't do that because this is against the spirit of the law. So it's obviously the right wing people say that it was too much power to the tax authority, but this is the only way to stop this process because the innovation in and the good innovation and the bad innovation is always, I mean, I mean, it does not have limits basically. So they can always find a way to avoiding paying the taxes. So it's important that you have an authority that can be in charge of, let's say, keeping the spirit of the law. So there are many changes. If you want, we can talk in more detail. I think we have a lot of at this point we are finishing our government. We have a lot of experience to share in terms of different ways to make wealthier people to pay taxes, and this is still under. I mean, this is a reform that is just being implemented, so we don't know to what extent this is going to be successful. This is something that is in the process.